of dealing with God's purpose for Daniel. Now in chapter 2, we are going to get into the beginning of the program, where we now begin to look at the time of the Gentiles. The time of Gentiles. In your manual, there are just some write-ups here in terms of the meaning of the guy Nebuchadnezzar. Beginning with this chapter of Daniel is the grand outline of the program of God for the period of the Gentile supremacy and chastisement of Israel is presented for the first time. You see, sometimes when we had meals, there are leaks. Well, these Jewish nations getting leaks, just we crossed 2,000 years plus with the leaks them getting because of their disobedience in following God. Alright? And so other nations are given the opportunity to take charge of the age. Even today, when God wants to do something great, He actually uses the church, which is mostly made up of Gentiles. This revelation was not given to a Hebrew, but God breaks the pattern. When you feel you could break style in God, God could raise up a stone to get it done. And that's exactly what He did here as well. But a heathen king, the prophet was merely an expositor, because it is in the dream that we're going to see, the imagery are all in the Jewish culture. So Nebuchadnezzar doesn't understand the culture. Therefore, it's difficult for him to interpret it. Alright? Only in Daniel chapter 2 and 7 contains a comprehensive picture of 1. The world history from the time of Daniel in 600 BC to the second advent of Christ. This entire block is called the time of the Gentiles, what is called the Babylon matrix. And Jesus indicates this too as well in Luke 21:24, when He talks about you have to wait. And He asks, shall you restore the kingdom to the Jews? He says, you have to wait till the time of the Gentiles is finished, because the time of the Gentiles is running. Well, we did 2,000 years already. Alright, time of the Gentiles is running. Secondly, the chronological prophecy of Israel's history, stretching from the rebuilding of Jerusalem to how the image is destroyed, and how the revelation relates to the present age and the two advent of Christ. So let's go now into the scriptures. We'll have the lights down for a bit.
Chapter 2. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans, but to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them,
I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream.
Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syria,
O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation.
The king answered and said to the Chaldeans,
The thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream, with the interpretation thereof ye shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if ye show the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof.
They answered again and said,
Let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it.
The king answered and said,
I know of certainty that ye would gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me. But if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that ye can show me the interpretation thereof.
The Chaldeans answered before the king and said,
There is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king, except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh.
For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain,
Why is the decree so hasty from the king?
Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house, and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said,
Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings, and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee, and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter.
Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him,
Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation.
Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him,
I have found a man of the captives of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation.
The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar,
Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof?
Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said,
The secret which the king hath demanded, cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, show unto the king? But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom, that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold, and after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, For as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel and said,
Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods, and a Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret.
Then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrack, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat...
Quite a long chapter in terms of what is laid out here for us in the dream of Nebuchadnezzar that sees not only his time, but even the time of the future as well. So we're looking at chapter 2 of the book of Daniel, and from verses 1 to 3, we actually see that the king is in distress. The king of Babylon was the mightiest empire in the world, and the greatest of all the Gentile kings on the earth. He is amongst other Old Testament characters and rulers, and was given dreams and vision by God, such as, remember Pharaoh in the days of Joseph, we just had that running here, where he also was directed in terms of what is taking place by dreams and vision. The same thing also indicates here. In verse 29, or from verse 29, the dreams are connected to what we think about before we go to sleep. Daniel tells him, he says, when you are going to sleep, thoughts came in your mind about what's going to happen in the future. And that's how his dream kicked open. Sometimes we may get dreams, and it's because of either the movie you watched before, or the conversation that you have. So that's why sometimes before you go to sleep, you need to guard or clear or be able to ensure that. That's why a lot of people, before they go to sleep, the last thing they do is they say their prayers, and they'll actually read scripture. Because what it does is that it sets your mind in the right frame to go to sleep. But if you watch a vampire bite neck and blood running down and so like that, and you go to sleep and you dream some tiger running down to bite you, you don't come and ask me to pray for you, and there was interpretation for that. That thing you rebuke. Alright? So guard your minds before you go to sleep. Okay? Because whatsoever you entertain before influences your dream. Okay? Influences your dream. 4 classes of individuals, or 4 classes of wise men are seen in verse 2. Magicians, astrologers, sorcerers, and Chaldeans. And we have a write-up here of what these magicians are, those that will use horoscopes. Astrologers are those that are practicing enchantment and study the stars to tell the future. Sorcerers are those that use drugs and magic and spells. And then of course the Chaldeans is just another group of astrologers. They just try to use different things to predict the future. In the original language, it is from this chapter that we actually have, from verse 4 in particular, where the language actually changed from the Hebrew language, the Gentile language. The Chaldeans were the one that spoke, who was the one that spoke persons in the Syrian language, and they declared that they could interpret the king dream if you will tell them it. Well, hear what? I'm used for it. You don't have to be smart to come up with an interpretation if somebody tells you a dream. Agree? Anybody who gives you a dream, you could come up with your own interpretation. There is nothing big or nothing that makes you special if somebody tells you a dream and you interpret it. The real showdown here that I feel Nebuchadnezzar is trying to figure out, he wants to verify who really connected to the supernatural world or not. Can these fellas who eating at the table and enjoying all of the benefits of public office, are they able to really tell and give directions for the future? Alright? The king said that the thing is gone from me. Now, why he will tell them that the thing is gone from him? When you look at the passage of scripture, all of the scripture, he did not forget the dream. Because if he forgot the dream, then he wouldn't know who would tell him the right one. You understand what I'm saying? Because if he forgot the dream, anybody could hatch a dream and come and deceive him too as well. So he's telling them that he is gone from it. He's fully aware. Because if they were to actually come up with one, he will be able to distinguish. The only way to know that. And he threatened them. He threatened them. He said, if you can't tell me what I dream, and more than that, tell me the interpretation, I will take a blade and chop you up. Not going on now. And more than that, he's going to take your house and make it an outside toilet. Not dread. Alright? Because remember, these political leaders would have had great benefits in terms of their living quarters and their accommodations and so on like that. Big threat in the parliament of Babylon. Big threat. The king said, it is gone from me, so that if they can provide both the dream and the meaning, the option was either elevation or penalty. Alright? Penalty. Some evidence there, like I said, the king definitely knows, he could remember the dream, but I am of the view he wants to check. He had doubts as to if these people were honest, their capability, their loyalty. He may even question their superstition and their practice. Some people come and they shake out water and they tell you something and so on like that is there. And you know, everybody could predict, you know, and he has many persons that he has to make decisions for. Interestingly, some of the young men like Daniel and his companions were absent when this threat was actually made. In verse 8 and verse 5 implies that the king did remember the main facts of the dream sufficiently to detect if they were to invent any answers and present it to him. Now, the individuals who were before him, the other wise men and so on, hear what it said. No one could give you an answer, and it reflects their ignorance and bankruptcy with respect to knowledge beyond the natural world. Now, I also feel that they were a bit arrogant in the fact that the Chaldeans, and this group says, yeah, we don't know, and that means nobody knows. Because if we don't know, nobody knows, because anybody who knows will know. So because we don't know, nobody knows. There are some people like that. They feel that they are the blue-eyed boy, and them is the right hand to the boss, and they don't realize that sometimes the boss could be left-handed. These men from verse 10 to verse 13, these men were arrogant by telling the king that if they didn't have an answer, nobody have an answer. Let me tell you something. If you can't find an answer, God always have an answer. And God always have somebody to get the answer to you. Their lack of insight opens up the door for God's man, which is Daniel. Daniel was a counselor to the king, but he was also collected in the broad category of wise men. So when they begin to hold all them persons in public office, they grab Daniel too as well. Desire of the prophet. From verse 14 to 16, Daniel was calm when the royal, or when the FBI, or when the police, or the extraditors from the US who trying to extradite you, when they come, he calm when they arrive at the door. Daniel had access to the king, and he went in and made known, or he made his request known. Let me tell you, when you have relationship, you can go before the king at any time and make requests. Not only does he make requests, but he even asks for time. But I'm sure Daniel could have actually anything at that point and get a relationship with God. But because of the nature of it, he wanted to ensure that he can actually get an answer. He says, give us some time and I will get the answer to you. In verse 17, Daniel did not panic. He called a prayer meeting and he called others that had the same gift and the same heart. Sometimes when you're in a dilemma, you don't just call people. You must call people that have the same gift and call people that have the same heart. I always tell individuals this, that yes, one could put 1,000 to flight, but two could only put 10,000 to flight if the person you're calling could fight the 1,000. Okay, the person you call can't fight their 1,000. You will have to fight your 1,000 and protect that person too as well. That 1,001. So you must make sure that the individuals have the same heart, but also the same gift as well. The king had decreed an immediate death, but Daniel fell upon the mercies of God. In verses 19 down, Daniel declared God is a God that is a revealer of secrets. Now, in the personal prayer meeting that is there, when he get the answer, Daniel don't run out the church and run down to Parliament and jump and hire a taxi and run in Parliament and say, I had the answer, I had the answer. If he prays and he gets the answer, before he go back to work, he comes in and remains in the house of God and offer thanks. He takes time to worship God in the private, because you made a private request, and he takes time to give a private honor that is there. So he blessed the God of heaven when he receives the answer that was given to him. So Daniel prays is directly connected to what he sees in the night vision. Now, here is where he praised God. He thanked God for changing the times and season. He thanked God for firing people and hiring people. He thanked God for giving wisdom to the wise. Better to be wise. He thanked understanding. He thanked God that God always have things to reveal. I think I always tell people this. I'm sure you can see this already. The day you know everything about God, he no longer is God. We must always be, the God we follow, there must always be things that God have new for us. So he can reveal things that are in the darkness for them that are dwelling in the light. So he continued to thank God and praise God for the answer. From verse 24, Daniel is ready to stand up and speak up. You see, there's a time to pray, there's a time to praise, there's a time to call for backup, and then there's a time to stand up and show them you get it. Here where he starts off with, he attacked the instruments of the false god and attributes his ability to the God of heaven, proving that his God alone is God. Proves. So he tells me, see all them fellas you have around here? None of them had the answer. You know why? Because all of them connected, what they connected to, they are not able to bring. So he says, none of your wise men can match. You know why? Not because I am better, but because the God I follow better. He says there's a God in heaven that is able to reveal the secrets. And not only that, He's able to reveal it to Nebuchadnezzar and show him things in the latter days, which is pointing even to our generation. And here is where he says, thy dream and vision that came upon thy bed at these. So he's ready and he's willing. Daniel indicated that the dream was a direct result of the thought that Nebuchadnezzar had before he fell asleep. You want to get dreams from the Lord, you need to be able to prepare that environment before. Especially these days, when God is speaking to us by dreams. If you're not dreaming, you need to sleep more. That's my solution. Daniel lifted up and glorified God and not himself. Alright? So, basically, he indicates here, and he begins to tell him now the entire dream. It is an image of a man. Its appearance is terrible to behold, and it glows with the brilliance of gleaming material. It consists of a head of gold, breasts and arm of silver, belly and thighs of brass, legs of iron, and then finally the last part of it is iron and clay. Now, what I want for you to see with regards to the entire system is that the entire system is doomed to fail from the beginning. You know why? The top is heavy and the bottom is weak. That's the first thing. So the system of the world is doomed to fail. It might look attractive, it might look brilliant, it might look in splendor, but it is doomed to fail. The specific gravity of gold is 19.3, but the specific gravity of clay is 1.9. In other words, then, if I'm sure you will go and buy a piece of gold. Let's say you want to buy a gold handbag. I never see anybody walk around with a clay handbag. I make one in plasticine and put on, I don't know. What you have is that as the kingdom runs, it moves from valuable and becomes less and less valuable as it travels in time. In other words then, the time of the Gentiles will move where people will move away from God, and that's why it's losing value. As it runs, it becomes more and more wicked, more and more self-centered, and it loses the value of God. So it goes from gold to silver to brass to iron to clay. Daniel's interpretation is concentrated on the head and the feet. The beginning, which is his generation, and the ending, which is our generation. The stages in between passes in silence and is subject for future vision, which we will bounce up in other chapters. Then it comes down to the image is destroyed by something that is called a stone that is cut without hands. The idea of cut without hands means it is not created. The idea of it cut without hands means that it was never created or influenced by human hand. If it is uncreated, it means it is divine. Your Bible tells you that Jesus is the rock. Your Bible tells you that there is a rock that is laid in Zion, and it is a stumbling block to the Jews, but for us it is our chief cornerstone. This stone that is cut without hands, when it arrives, it will hit the image on its feet and mash up all of the other material that is there. So the destruction of the image is due to the stone cut without hands, and it grinds everything to powder. You know, Jesus once said it. He says, whosoever fall upon me shall be broken, but whosoever I fall upon will be grind to powder. When he fall upon them, they are grind to powder. Daniel declared this is the dream, what the qualified team could not do, one Jew was able to do. And do you know, like I said in chapter 1, he's promoted in the parliament. When you look at chapter 2, when they went before the king, they said, we have our captives here from the Jewish nation. They remind him again of his slavery. Then he begins to interpret. Daniel revealed that Nebuchadnezzar has the office of what is called King of Kings. Thou, O Daniel, are a King of Kings, for the God of heaven has given you power and strength and glory. And everybody on the face of the earth, be it man, be it the fowls of heaven, everybody is under the rulership of Nebuchadnezzar. Thou art the head of gold. Thou art the head of gold. When the stone returns in the future, he will actually pick up the same office of King of Kings. So, there is a king over the Persian Empire, which is the silver. There is a king over the Grecian Empire, which is the brass. There is a king over the Roman Empire, which is the iron. But in spite of their leadership, because Nebuchadnezzar is the head of his kingdom, but the head of the entire thing, Nebuchadnezzar is the king over all of the other kings that is coming in the time of the Gentiles. Nebuchadnezzar alone holds the office of King of Kings. You follow what I'm saying? Alright? That's where the office actually comes in. Babylon is the smallest of all the empire, but God puts world domination in its hands. It has the right to the whole world, was for the nation of Israel, and it is transferred to Nebuchadnezzar. The system controls the world. While Nebuchadnezzar is the head of gold, the last empire, which is the Antichrist, which will also rule the entire world, will be destroyed by the stone that is going to come in the future. In verse 43, we find that they will mingle themselves with the seed of men. There is a mixture that is taking place here, where there seems to be force that is taking place in terms of mixing DNA, bloodline, and we are right now in that environment as well, where there are a number of mixing that are taking place. The kingdoms after Nebuchadnezzar will become weaker, softer, or more inferior than that of gold. The fourth empire is relentless. It subdues everything. In the final phase of iron and gold, the focus is on the 10 toes. And that's where you'll see this mentioned as the 10 horns in the future. It's a 10-toe kingdom that is partly weak and partly strong, or partly broken. Clay represents democracy, iron represents dictatorship. And you could never bring democracy and dictatorship together. From verse 44 to 49, it is the days of the king of the 10 toes when God will set up a mountain kingdom that will replace the entire image before. Presently, the soil in Babylon has no stone. Most building, therefore, is just made from clay and bricks. This stone will destroy all the materials to powder, rendering them useless for any future duties. The king fell on his face before Daniel and promotes him to great honor, and also gave the God of Daniel great honor to as well. So here we have Nebuchadnezzar fall on his face. Not only does he honors Daniel, but more than that too as well. Here is a heathen king that recognizes that the God of Daniel is the God of gods and the Lord of kings. The testimony and the ability of Daniel makes the outsider know that the God you're following is God and above every other God. Are you there with me? What a revelation and what an honor that is there. More than that too as well, we see that when Daniel got promoted, he did not forget his prayer partners and friends. Like Joseph, when he went into Egypt, he made sure he bring his family into as well, so that they can be taken there. The people that pray for you, when you reach in your high office, see if you can bring them on board. When they say we're in politics, they're bringing a friend. Like Bible. Bring in your prayer friend. I'll tell you the other reason why. If you need a prayer team to get you into power, you need a prayer team to keep you in power. Agree with me? Alright? So Daniel doesn't say, well, you know, fellas, thank God for the help. I reach up here now. Daniel requested that these men be brought into office over the affairs. So when you get promotion, don't forget the individuals that have actually helped you too as well. Alright? That actually help you too as well. So we will deal with some more of this in our future encounters too as well, with regards to that. So it's a vision of this entire block of time, and you'll see that on the last chart in your handout, this entire block of time that is called time of the Gentiles. And we are still running under the realm of the time of the Gentiles.